All right, all right, all right. We're alive. Still. Hope everyone is having an incredible day. All right. Go ahead, give this a thumbs up if you can hear me clearly. Don't actually comment a thumbs up. Give the actual video a thumbs up. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, fam? 1 second. All right, let me know if I'm too loud. Shout out to Heck. I appreciate the super chat. Kicking this one off strong. I appreciate you, sending you lots of love. You said, I hope you're doing amazing. I am. Appreciate you. You said, what are effective methods, ways to build a sustainable... Okay. 1 second. It hit me with the tough questions right away. All right. Let me get to this. You said, what are effective methods, ways to build and sustain strong relationships with others? Also, would you consider adding a chapter about relationships in the Expansion Mastermind course? All right. Well, first things first, there is another chapter that's being added to the Expansion Mastermind course, which is going to be called Unity of Architects. And that is going to literally be about that. It's going to be about how to collaborate with the world in any capacity, whether that be, partner, relationship, business, you with family, maybe you're moving into, changes in life. And I mean, it really can be comprehensive and utilized for all of that. So just want you to know that pretty much the new chapter is going to be about that. Now, I don't really know exactly what you mean when you say relationships, because those come in many forms. If you're talking about partnership, you and, significant other, well, that has a whole different depth of complexity comparatively to you being an employer, or you having a business and you're trying to grow relationships with clients, or, there's so much that goes into this. So you're asking a broad question, but we're gonna have fun with it to kick this one off. You said, what are effective methods and ways to build and sustain strong relationships with others? Well, first things first, realize that it's not always about you. It's probably a really important place to start. A relationship is a dance. It's not a sword fight. Relationship is you meeting based on how you relate. And this is why I've said before, and I think I maybe ended the last live stream on some of these ideas. I said that most people don't actually have relationships. They have experiments. But if you actually have a relationship with somebody, you'd be willing to put places where you get a little bit off the rails. You start to take things personally. Maybe you get offended. You take those moments and kind of dim those lights. You'd mute it a little bit. It's not always about you. When you dance, there's going to be moments where your partner steps on your feet. And usually you just laugh about it and you correct and you keep it moving. But not everything is so easy to react like that. There are things that could really get under your skin and really bother you. I mean, especially if you're talking about a sexual relationship, sexual partnership, a significant other, because you're with them so much of the day. You spend literally so much time with them most of the time. So, rule number one, is remind yourself that it's not always about you. But this leads very nicely into rule number 2 is you must be you always. You must always be you. Don't compromise. And number 3, I think is, because I wanna make it simple. I don't want to get too deep into all these other layers. If it's a partner, create space. Literally make space. You want to miss them. You want them to miss you. Create space. So number 1, I think it's very important. It's not all about you. Number 2, but you must always be you, meaning never be agreeable. And then number 3, create space. Because what space does and what it allows is more than just the whole missing each other effect. What it also does is it allows you to operate in silence in many forms, energetically, spiritually, consciously, in all forms. So silence is your teacher. You know, silence is when God speaks to you. And I think we'll leave it at that. You know, those 3 things. Keep that at the top of your mind whenever you're developing relationships, or for anyone that's in a relationship right now. Maybe there's some issues, maybe there's some things going on, some problems. We all need to practice being more compassionate. And that comes back to the first rule. But sometimes it's very difficult to be compassionate when you have no silence. And that's the importance of rule number 3. Creating space creates the opportunity for silence. And we live in a world with way too much noise. So much. So I think those 3 things will really bring this robust essence back to relationships, or in the beginning stages of building relationships. I mean, if you build a relationship with those 3 core fundamentals, I mean, it'll be unstoppable. And if there's any issues, you'll most likely know it's about them and not about you. And then that comes back to rule number 2, which is, but always be you. You must always be you. So if you're doing this, you know, from the heart, exactly what I said, and there's still issues, there's still this lack of alignment and the vibrational frequency just isn't matching, well, then that's on you to make a decision like, this person is just not my person. And that's that raw, like, real, honest self that you have to dive into sometimes. And I think that's critical because too many of us, we disregard red flags in the process because we like having companionship. And you must not maintenance companionship if it feels like a wilted flower. Like, sometimes it's kind of best to move on. Because if the flower is starting to wilt, that means your soul has already made a decision. But I appreciate your super chat. I'm sending you lots of love, and I think you're really going to enjoy the Unity of Architects chapter in the Expansion Mastermind. And with that being said, I believe by next week, I don't want to rush this. You guys know how I roll. I like to create art, not content. But I'll be coming out with, I think it'll be 5 new videos for the Heal Thyself chapter inside of my Expansion Mastermind. It's going to be talking about food from a whole new angle that I really might not have had the time to touch on when I released that course. So what I'm talking about right now is at WatersAbove.com. If you just scroll down a little bit to Expansion Mastermind, you'll see it here. If you click on buy now or click on any of this stuff, it's actually going to bring you to another page where it'll allow you to see the description, what it's about, and then you could go to overview, just click load more. And on Heal Thyself, I'm going to be adding, I believe it's about 4 to 5 new videos. So this will become 20 total steps. All of this groundwork is super crucial for the next 5 videos that I release. So anyone who already has this course, I would almost tell you right now, if you have the time, go through all of this again. So that way, when you see the new videos, you can flow into it. And And anyone who's new, who's looking, to invest in something that you feel aligns with you, like this, what we discuss in our live streams. I mean, this is basically like my version of a digital coaching course, walking with you through the whole process, each step of the way. And it is really centered on health. And once I add in that new 4 to 5 videos, I mean, it's really going to make it thorough, as thorough as I could possibly make it. And believe it or not, a lot of these new videos were influenced by doing these live streams with you guys after I released the course, because I get all these frequently asked questions. So with those frequently asked questions, I essentially design those new videos around those. So it's all about you guys, really. And then, as I said, I'll be coming out with the Unity of Architects after that. Definitely about relationships, mentorships, coaches, all that kind of stuff. But how you organize with others, and to do it from the process of expanding consciousness and not just about this material realm. All right, we're kicking off this live stream strong because we got some supers right out of the gate. So I appreciate every single one of you. Really means a lot to me. Also, shout out to Matt Ball. Just wrenched our brother. Hope you're doing well, brother. Let me see. Appreciate everyone who's a YouTube member. That really means the world to me. Got Jeanette, Maria, Anna. Shout out to Anna Anushka. Appreciate you. Much love. Jeanette says, thank you for your last hangout. All right. I appreciate you. That was really epic. I wasn't anticipating that to go for 4 hours or however long it did at all. One moment. Padron Visuals, I really appreciate your super chat, brother. That's very generous of you. Sending you lots of love. Hope you're doing well. I believe you're Raymundo, right? Think I've connected the face with the YouTube account. Appreciate you also being a Patreon supporter of mine. It means the world to me, brother. Hope you're doing amazing. And if you have anything you want to ask, feel free to drop it in the chat. If any mods see your comment come in, if you have a question on anything, we'll make sure to get around to that. Appreciate you. Bizer, hope you're doing well, brother. You said, what's your opinion on tattoos, and would you ever consider getting one? You know, when I get asked these questions, I always want to preface my response with, I'm not anti anything or pro anything for anyone else, So what I'm about to share, it's by no means like raining on anyone's parade. I can just speak for myself. And I'm in a very interesting position with all of this because, first of all, no, I don't have any tattoos. And second of all, my mom was a professional tattoo artist. So I had easy access to them. But I also grew up seeing people like get drunk and then pay all this money for the stupidest fucking tattoo I've ever seen in my life. Oh, by the way, if you're new here, it gets spicy sometimes. I hope you're prepared. But anyways, I used to see people get some of the most ridiculous tattoos of all time. And, for a tattoo artist, you're like, well, you just accept the money. And for the most part, as long as you could make it follow along your level of skill, and it's not you like downgrading your skill because you're about to share this art with the world through someone else's skin. I mean, you're just going to say yes and accept the money. You know, you can't say no to somebody who comes up with an idea, even though it's stupid. It just is what it is. So yeah, I saw a lot of that growing up. And the reason I don't personally want to get a tattoo is because this body is like, I feel like if I'm going to put any energy into my body, I want it to be into fitness. I want it to be into movement. And that's another element, I think, to tattoos. I believe a lot of people get the tattoo to show off something about their identity self. And I don't really care anymore about that at all. It just doesn't serve me. Now, I'm not against people getting tattoos. Again, like I understand it's an art form. I'm fully aware. I saw it firsthand growing up as a child all the way until, later in life. And it's beautiful. It really is. It's a beautiful art form. I just personally don't care for it. And we all have our thing when it comes to the material realm, when it comes to the simulacrum, when it comes to the way that you feel about your identity self. And if you personally on any level resonate with them, with the tattoo, then go for it, I would just be very cautious and check in with your ego before you go into the appointment. Like really see where you're at with it. Like, are you doing it for you? Or are you doing it because you want to be seen in a certain way, or you want to be reacted to in a certain way? Because that's ultimately what majority of the tattoos seem to be. It's you desire prana from someone for something, and that's an easy way to get it, right? Of course. It's like being... Anyways, I think I've shared enough on that. Appreciate you, brother. All right. Got a super chat from Anna Anushka. I appreciate you sending lots of love. I just gave you a shout out moments ago. Appreciate you. You said, thank you for being here with us today, Jordan, and sharing your love and wisdom with us all. Much love to you. Of course, it's what I do. I love these live streams. I plan to do them as long as I possibly can. I think I'm in the process of coming out with some projects and redesigning a little bit about what I've been doing to actually make these live streams be a part of my process forever, as long as I can do them. So it's beautiful to spend this time with everyone. I feel like getting around to these and doing them the way that we do them is very unique, and allows me to share and collaborate with all of you, which I feel is very important. Speaking of relationships, right? This is pretty much like one ongoing meetup, where every single week for the past 2.5 years or whatever, I believe I've only missed a couple of these for personal and important reasons. And it's just such a part of my overall flow state. So I appreciate you being here too. Adam Arias, you said the wife and I don't miss a live. This has straightened our marriage. Wow. This has strengthened our marriage with a new baby girl. Wow, Adam. I am honored, and I feel very grateful to be a part of your process. That's beautiful. Servando, sending you love. Crypto Babe, sending you love. I hope you're doing well. Lolo Blondo, great to have you here with us. It's so great to always see you in the lives. Louis asks, do you know any methods that could help a person raise their attention span? Well, the number one thing is you have to, two things. First and foremost, you have to reduce distractions. And the second thing is you do that by focusing 100% on one thing. Excuse me. So inside of my expansion mastermind course, I have a full chapter dedicated to this called Attention Mastery. Yeah, pretty important, because I think that's a thing we're going to suffer from more and more as a species moving forward, with having a phone, a laptop, all these tabs open on our browser. I mean, I fall for it all the time too, and I'm the guy who's like really trying to work at a lot of this stuff, you know? Like I just get it. I get it now. Like having all these devices and all of this easy, fast internet, and it makes it so like you always want to be connected to it, and it's reprogramming our consciousness in a very strange way. So I admit, I think a lot of this behavior gets even more exacerbated through people who are into crypto and charts and like finances and just looking at the stock market move up and down all day. Like that's a different type of sickness. So if you're somebody who's invested in the market, but you're also like starting your own business, you're working from home or whatever, whatever you have going on, you know, I probably would say the first thing you can do is stop looking at charts unless you plan out maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour a day to go into the charts and actually learn something. This is what I teach in my crypto mastermind. Like, you know how amazing you would get at analyzing markets if you never looked at the charts except for 1 hour a day, and in that 1 hour, all you did was study moving averages. That's all you did. Just one. And then tomorrow, all you do for 30 minutes, RSI, Relative Strength Index. That's it. Then the next day, MACD. That's it. Then the next day, you see, you'd be insanely proficient comparatively to the average person that's spending 10 hours just staring at the candlesticks going up and fucking down. This is a waste of life, okay? You need to get back the ability to invest your attention into something that serves your purpose instead of just paying attention to 15 things going on at once. It slowly reprograms you to being like a bot. And I just admitted it before, like I catch myself, but that's the thing. At least I have the tools. So now if I catch myself, I could quickly readjust, get back on track, and then go about my business. But one of the things that makes me such a high level creator is that I know this little tactic of reducing distractions, completely remove them down to where it's just one thing you do and put 100% of your focus and attention into that one thing. I actually, you know, anyone who's been following my work, you know that like I like to take popular ideas and practice the same thing that I've been doing since I started, which is that everything that's popular is wrong. Everything is opposite. If the school tells you black is white or white is black, like whatever, like I'm just always going the opposite. They tell you to sit down, I stand up. They tell you to stand up, I sit down. I apply the same thing to all common ideas, like how our world believes that multitasking is good. I'm the opposite. Multitasking is fucking you up. Multitasking is the antithesis of your failure. Of your success. And it's what leads to failure. Because you're failing in multiple places just enough to the point to not notice you're failing. I'll say that again. You ready? Multitasking is the antithesis of success. Because what's happening is you're failing in multiple places just enough to not even notice that you're failing at all. I want you to like seriously meditate on that. When you're done with this live stream today, that becomes a mantra. See, this is what the so-called apex predator wants. They want to redesign your mind so that it's fractaled out into all these places. And you don't even realize that you're dropping the ball. You don't even realize that you're insufficient, that you're partial. Stop being fucking partial. Be 110%. Like, think about the most beautiful moments in life. You notice it's because you're engaged. When you're with the love of your life, are you multitasking or are you engaged with them? All creation comes from focused engagement. There can't be creation if you're in 5 places at once. It's impossible. And that goes for every form of creation. Now, what I just laid out the groundwork with regarding multitasking, get ready for AI. AI is going to make like this Russian doll effect even more noticeable, where you're going to be like on the outer layer and you'll be so disengaged from the task and the creation that you will become a robot. You will be a bot. So when they show you all these dystopian movies being like the AI is going to kill us and take over, and no, it ain't. We will self-devour. There is no AI race of robots that's going to come and take over. Like, it will just be by current humans no longer performing tasks anymore, because you will outsource all tasks to AI. And at first it's going to seem really dope, because at first you're going to be like, oh yeah, that's really cool. Like this thing could do that, and it could create for me. It could solve problems for me. But then what are you going to be left with doing? You're going to be a bored fuck who has nothing to do with your day, and you're not going to feel purpose. You're going to be a purposeless, like just drowning in sorrow and boredom, because you're going to figure out a way for AI to do everything for you. AKA create everything for you. AKA you're going to forfeit all of your own creative essence. And then what are you left with? You're not left with life anymore. You're left with death. Now, I'm not against AI. I think it serves its purpose. There are people that can do it and not fully give into it at this capacity. But most of humanity is not going to have the strength to do that. And I think you guys understand where I'm coming from here. I think you probably resonate with that statement quite a bit. Who's listening right now is a very select, beautiful group of people. You're rare. If you're listening to this right now, you're a fucking divergent. But the average person, they're just not, they don't have the strength to notice that they're slipping into quicksand. So I urge all of you today, if you notice any of this behavior in self, just check in with how you feel. Do you feel more useless when you outsource all creative tasks to some machine? Probably. Do you want to feel more useful? Probably. So stop fucking doing that. Re-engage with the creative process. Get your hands in the dirt. Like, that's going to change your life. So this multitasking thing being considered a virtue and a skill and something that's helpful, I'm completely the opposite. Remember, white is black and black is white. They tell you to sit, you stand. This is how you win. This is how you become successful. They tell you there's one answer to the problem. You say there's a million answers to the problem. See, they give you many problems and only one answer to each problem so that you become focused on problems. And successful, great people focus on solutions. They're 95% solution focused, whilst the masses are 5% solution focused. And trust me, family, it actually needs to be this way. And this is, I think, what makes me unpopular in like the truther community, because I'm not going to blame the New World Order. I'm not going to blame the school. I'm not going to blame any of that. This comes back to you. You have to take personal responsibility. Okay? So just to like wrap up this point, we just have to catch ourselves in these behavior patterns. And the quicker you catch yourself, and in the process of catching yourself, have no guilt or no shame, just correct. Okay? When you see yourself slipping, no guilt, no shame, just fucking correct. That's all. Got to drink some of this chai before it gets Cold. One moment. All right, we got about 400 people with us. Appreciate y'all. D Vortex in the house. Much love. Ian Ludlow in the house. Much love. We got everyone hanging out with us. Louis says, I swear if I could give you $1 million if I could. Thank you for spending your time with us. Louis, we're all trillionaires, brother. We have a currency that few realize. It's the currency of consciousness. We're already all trillionaires, man. Like, I appreciate you just showing up. It's all love. Really means a lot. The super chats today, I really appreciate you guys supporting the art. Inna, I appreciate you. You said, because you've made a decision to start your channel with these lives. Much gratitude, Jordan. Appreciate you. Inna, hope you're doing well. It's great to see you frequent these. It means so much to me. I know you've been here since the beginning. Appreciate you, Inna. Got another super chat from Nordy. Appreciate that. I really like your picture. Is that from, let me remember it. Damn. How, no. That's, it's from Miyazaki movie. Spirited Away. I think it's from Spirited Away. No, maybe not. It's that wolf, yo. This is no Princess Mononoke. That's what it is. Before, when I was typing into the search, I saw the the fucking last week when we were talking about the spiritual person starter pack. That shit is so funny. Dude, this is my spirit animal right here. All right, I don't want to miss out on your super chat, but this is, dude, look at this. Actually, I had a live stream probably like within my first 10 live streams, and it was this picture. What a babe. But yeah, this is incredible. If anyone hasn't seen Princess Mononoke, what are you doing? Go check it out. What I really love about Miyazaki movies is I've cried in every single one I've watched. There has not been a Miyazaki movie where I was like, I just couldn't, like, it's just so emotional. I can't believe it. How back then, with that level of animation and lack of technology, not only, you want to know why this is so inspiring to me and why I want to talk about it, is because when I create things, some of you know my motto, create things that make people feel things. I don't want to create shit that makes you only like it or watch it, just insights or comment on it. Like, I want feelings. Hayao Miyazaki movies create feelings. It's art that's been designed to make you it's like a reminder that you're a human being, and it's so beautiful. So I want to do that with everything I create. Even if I know it offends people, if I know that it's too difficult, like if it's too hot in the sauna, like I really don't care, because I know someone is going to feel where I'm coming from. And that comes back to those three things that we kick this all off with is number 2, be you, like always be you. Yes, you're going to offend people. Yeah, you're going to like not everyone's going to agree with you. Yeah. They're irrelevant. It's the ones who feel where you're coming from are the ones that are gods. Those are the souls. Those are the people that were here for you. You just got to put it out there, though. You can't stay silent in this world, man. You were gifted a throat chakra for a reason. Put it to work. Take risks with your thoughts. The world needs it more than ever. But getting back to the super chat from Nordy, you said, hey, Water's going through the expansion mastermind course. It's a great experience. These streams are love to listen while painting or working. Enjoy the sauna. I appreciate you. That means a lot to me. First of all, I appreciate your continued support, investing in my expansion mastermind. That means so much. And also for joining in these live streams. Appreciate you. And keep creating. It's beautiful to hear that you're a painter. GB, appreciate you. Somebody asked, how do you feel about clothing? When you go out in the world, how do you present yourself in the material? I think it's a part of our expression. It's very similar to what I was talking about before with the tattoos. Like, I'm no one to say that one style is better than someone else's style. I don't really I'm aware of high fashion. I'm aware of art as an art form. Like when it comes to clothing design, my grandfather was a clothing designer. So I have some understanding of it at a personal level. Ironically, just like with the tattoo thing. But yeah, I get the whole fashion thing. I get why people are so into it, but there is a level to it that is a little, how do I say? It's very egoic and it's like the prana thing. It comes back to the same kind of idea with the tattoo. It's like, are you dressing like this because this is how you want to express yourself? Or are you doing it because you want people to realize you and to give you attention? Like, why does the peacock show its feathers? Well, I think that a real man and a real woman can show their feathers in a way that isn't material. Really think about what I'm saying right now. A real conscious being, masculine or feminine, I want you to try showing your feathers without it being about the material. So that's how I feel about clothes. Enjoy the matrix. Enjoy expressing yourself. But what makes you you is not your fucking costume. If your whole concept of self-worth comes back to how you dress, you're withering away. You're a wilted flower. If you want life force back into your life, you're going to have to put that stuff on the sideline and reevaluate what's really important. So I love, art. It's what I live for. And I visualize even tattoos because I don't have them. I still visualize those as art. With clothing, it's the same way. With footwear, it's the same thing. And I'm actually really into that particular art form. I have my own personal relationship with it that I believe is very healthy. It's one of my healthiest relationships I think I have, is the way that I present myself and how I feel about that whole concept. Is actually, I don't really look at any moment in life as if I should present myself in a certain way. I've moved on from that. If somebody doesn't like the way I look or doesn't like the way I dress or doesn't value me because of something like that, that's not my person. That person isn't here for me. They're here to look at me, but they're not here for my soul. I'm just looking at some questions. I appreciate 430 people Much love. Kane, I appreciate your super chat. That means a lot. You said, "Hey Jordan, I was wondering if you had any information on how a woman could repair a heal the body to achieve a healthy pregnancy." Okay, well, first of all, how far along is she? Is she not pregnant yet? Are you preparing for that? And I don't know anything about this woman. How damaged, her lymphatic system is. I don't really know what you mean by the concept of seeking, information about repairing if I don't know what the damage is, right? Like Kane, think about it like this. When you show up with your car to the mechanic, you have some sort of problem that you've identified, and that's why you're bringing it there. Yeah? So a car has many different components. It could be the tires, it could be the engine, it could be the, it could be something, excuse me, there's some really loud drilling noise now. Yeah, fuck. Horrible sound. Anyways, you guys know how it is. This is our usual mid-stream interruption of nonsense. Try my best to stay on track here. I was going to say, the thing that needs repair could be something cosmetic, right? I just don't know. I don't really know. But when you ask this question, I'm assuming, especially with the emoji you put, that you know some of my ethos and overall philosophy. And you're probably well aware of how to become effectively hydrated. And it's really important that if a woman is carrying a child, and if she does give birth, even more important, actually, I would say, more than ever, is to, one, reduce things that are dehydrating and things that are acidic. And number two, increase. Oh my God, this fucking noise is horrendous. Last week it was like some alarm going off outside. Holy moly. Apologies. This was a super chat that I received, so these really mean a lot to me, and I always do my best to give the most thorough answer. So that's why I'm not just moving on. I apologize though, because I can't fucking hold a thought with this noise. Okay. Yeah, so if I remember where I was, it's really important to be effectively hydrated, and it's definitely important to reduce things that are acidic, because her milk will become poison, okay? And that's the only thing that a human baby should be consuming for a pretty long time, actually, is mother's milk. No other thing. That's what it's designed for. You should not drink cow milk, no matter what age you are. You should never drink any type of milk that doesn't come from your species. You're a human, and that's very, very critical. But yeah, outside of that, I just don't know enough about the woman and what is so-called damage that would need this repair. I would just say get the fruit intake up way more than normal. I would reduce the acidic foods as much as possible. So that's like deep fried food, alcohol, processed foods of any type, including vegan food. We're not pro-vegan here. We're pro-whole food. So definitely stay away from overly processed anything. Go for whole food. And that should be pretty solid. Oh, also, I would just say, get the mindset right. Get the levels of stress down. That's huge, and often overlooked. She's growing a baby in her womb. She needs to work on not being stressed. Because I don't give a shit how fucking good you eat. If you're stressed out, that baby gets that stress. Like, it receives it. This is vibrational frequency. This is also chemical reaction. This is going to come out in the hormonal release. And the baby receives that energy. So the one thing I would say, Kane, is if she's ever feeling stressed, I want her to be reminded that she's literally growing a child in her. Like, that should make her smile. How badass that is. Like, how incredible. That's alchemy. She's an alchemist. Like that should be the reminder. If you start to get stressed, you start to get a little, frustrated, just be reminded that you're literally creating life inside of you, and get back on track. But that's really crucial to talk about, I think, because I actually believe that's what leads to a lot of damage overall in the body. That's what leads to a lot of issues with gut microbiota health. This is why they're having such a hard time developing papers on gut microbiota. It's because a lot of the time they only focus on the physical realm. They don't really think too much about how the energy that affects you will change your hormones, and that therefore will change you internally. So the mindset is key. But I think that's enough. That's a very good place to start. Appreciate you, Kane. Dr. Kimberly Joseph. Appreciate you becoming a YouTube member. That means the world to me. Appreciate you. Anna asks, Jordan, have you noticed the pattern? I started trying to break this by following my intuition and doing mundane tasks differently. Sometimes I disassociate, feel unreal, then I'm back in the pattern. I'm not entirely sure, what you mean. Are you talking about in the context of staying focused and preventing distractions? Because if that's what you mean, then yeah, I realize the pattern all the time. But you know what's funny, Anna, is when I'm creating, like when I'm really, like when I'm making music, when I'm writing a new guitar line, when I'm, working on something with WatersAbove, all of that is like a level of flow state that is so just me. I love flow state. Like I live for it. I live for all of that process. And I know how to get there quick. That's one of the gifts that I have, is getting there very, very quick. And I believe I shared that strategy and that whole, breakdown of how to get there in the Expansion Mastermind Course. It's probably within the first 4 chapters. It covers how to get there. But identifying the pattern is huge for sure. But also you need to identify the pattern of how you accessed flow state too. Because once you identify that shit, then boom, you become like, you have that tool now in your toolkit, and you could pull that out whenever you need. That is it. One thing I've been doing lately, and I haven't talked about this publicly, but I just kind of started doing it. I used to do it before, but now I'm operating at a much, much higher level, and I have way less free time than ever before. Just time to kill, I guess. And I've been using my time more than ever effectively and to create. But now every time I get up out of my chair when I'm working on something, I do push-ups. So it's like, I think everyone should do this. Like seriously, if you're a woman and you don't want to do the push-ups, do air squats. And the goal is to get 100 a day minimum. Now with air squats, most people can do like 20 in one shot, So you're not looking at too many sets per day. But perhaps, after you do about 60 or 70, you start to get a little bit tired. You're doing less overall you're doing less overall reps and more sets, and that's okay. Because your ass gets up and down from that chair lots of times a day, right? Like, unless you're somebody who works on your feet all day. But even then, on a day off, you can do this. And I've noticed when I practice this, I go back into flow state quicker. Now, I don't know what the cheat code is here, but it works for me really well. Like, what I'm talking about is if I need to get up to get a glass of water, or I need to get up because I just want to stretch, or I need to get up because I know I've been sitting down too long and I just get antsy, do the push-ups right there. And then I could walk away for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, do whatever else I'm doing, and then get back to my work so seamlessly. And then if I do a longer break, like a 30-minute break or 45-minute, I'll actually do push-ups again right before I get back on the laptop. And this is like something that I used to do a long time ago, and I stopped doing it for a while. And then just recently, I started implementing it again at this new level. Oh my goodness, it's a game changer. Like, it's really, really helped. It could be anything. It could be jumping jacks. It could be burpees. It could be air squats. It could be plank. It could be crunches. Like whatever you want to do. Just have fun with it. But the thing is you're kind of doing something hard when you were just doing a lot of something that required almost no effort, like physiological caloric burn. If you're sitting at a desk for an hour, you're not really burning a ton of calories unless you're really using your mind a lot. Critical thinking can burn a ton of calories. But you guys know what I mean. It's not the same thing as doing like air sprints or high knees or doing like a wall sit. It's not the same. Sitting in a chair is not the same as a wall sit. You know, most people that you tell to do that for 30 seconds, they feel like their goddamn legs are going to snap off. And that there's nothing wrong with that. That's room for improvement. That's room to grow, you know? So I think it's crucial in this modern day when we're spending so much time sitting in a car on our commute, we're spending so much time sitting at a desk, we're spending a lot of time, you know, waiting around. If you are somebody who's more engaged and you take action whilst you're working from a computer, definitely consider this tip. Could be helpful. And what I was really responding to there was Anna's question about identifying patterns and me talking about how it's not only you identifying the pattern of your lack and your so-called mistakes or your mishaps. It's actually important for you to realize the pattern that got you into flow state or the patterns that you are tapping into when you're in flow state. Those are equally as important. And if you could remember that, then it could be brought up when needed. You know what I'm saying? And then having both, being aware of it on both sides on that duality, then you could transcend that duality and go back to unity. And it's no longer about the I'm doing bad and I'm doing good. It's that you become like the waves of an ocean, which is what you are. Tech Dude, I really appreciate your kind words about the last video I put out. It isn't getting as much views as usual, so I know that my work isn't, well, I guess I should say my community isn't comprised of as many people who are in Hex as, for instance, XRP per se, but I really made the intro of that video. Like the first 10 minutes of that video are so important to watch. That last YouTube video I put out. If you're invested in this market, or if you're new to my work and you don't really know where I stand, because this happens to me all the time, and I'm not going to talk about crypto at all on these live streams. I'm bringing up a much bigger, grandiose, and important point. And it's that a lot of people who are new to my work, they think I'm like a Bitcoin maxi, or they think that I like hate XRP, or they think that I hate this or I hate that. And like they're forgetting what we stand for here, which is like there is no side to pick. And by the way, if I'm going to pick a fucking side, I choose me. That's like one of my favorite parts from the new Kendrick album with, what's his name? He's like that Southern rapper. But he said, I choose me. Because this whole life we've lived, we're choosing everything else but us, and that's why we don't believe in ourselves anymore. And my main philosophy is believe in yourself and only yourself, and then resonate with everything else. Stop believing externally. So I choose me. I don't choose XRP. I don't choose Bitcoin. I don't choose fucking any of that shit. They're just opportunities. They're investment opportunities. Because when you choose to be a part of that thing and isolate it out with belief, you're joining a fucking cult. And any issues with it hurts you too, because you've invested all this emotion into something that doesn't even serve you to begin with. Like, let's just say you made some money from an investment. Like, it's not that investment that made you money. It was your selling it after you've like, I feel like I almost need to re-explain this because people are so new to how the process actually works that they don't even really get it. Like, no coin is making you money. This is moving from one hand to the next hand. Like, you invested in it at some point, and then a bunch of other people did more than the other people sold. The value went up, and then eventually when you took profit, it was because you sold to somebody else who was willing to buy. It just traded hands. It's not the coin that made you money, it was the people's speculation, and then ultimately you taking action. Because if you never pressed the sell button, then you would never make any money. You see? It's like people forget this shit. And they give all their life force away to like Brad Garlinghouse or Richard Hart or this guy or that guy. And it's like, stop that. You sound like a child. Like, it's time to grow up. And I feel like the first 10 minutes of that new YouTube video, even though I know a lot of people probably skipped it, it's like 90% some of the most important shit that I've ever said about finance. And if that was the only thing people got out of it, then they could X out of the video after that. You know, for real, like, there's so much I put into that intro. I felt it was important. It was important to speak of, especially in these conditions we're in right now. And this is applicable for all things, family. This isn't just about an investment in a tech company or a blockchain company or fintech or crypto. This is about the way that you invest yourself into anything, whether that be a religion or a social media influencer or a diet that you found. This is what makes the concept of a fad diet. It's because a bunch of people instantly start jumping on it as if it's gospel. That's what keto is, carnivore diet, veganism, all the fruitarian, fucking you name it. All they're doing with that diet is what a lot of people do with Hex or with XRP or with Bitcoin. So we're not maxis here by any means. We develop a investment thesis that's very holistic, that is strategic, that is about staying conservative, but also being profitable along the way and repeating over and over, and also correcting as needed. When we notice there's a flaw in our thesis, we are humble enough to say, this isn't working, let's correct this. And the more you do that, you create what's called generational wealth, not just short-term gains, not just you being part of a bull run or whatever. So it's really important to talk about this kind of stuff. If we talk about money, that's where the real value is. And it's obvious to me that there's many new people to the game of investing. Perhaps a lot of them are quite young. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but they haven't learned that concept that I just shared before, which is that when you buy and the value of something goes up, it's because more people are purchasing it than the people who are selling it. Therefore, it's just increasing in value because now people believe it's worth more. And then when you eventually take profit and you sell it and you're effectively in the green, it's because somebody else was willing to believe that that was a good time for them to invest in it. Therefore, you're handing it over to them. That's all. So with investing, the goal here is to just reduce the amount of times where you're the guy who's wrong in when you made that decision to sell this thing to somebody else. And ultimately, you want to feel that what you're buying, what you're getting in on, is something that's undervalued, is something that's a good value. And based on your investment thesis, it makes sense to build a position in it when it's undervalued because you project the long-term value increase based off of those basics I just explained. Rinse, repeat, you'll be fucking fine. Shout out to Cordy G. Shout out to Dustin. Shout out to A Mad. Appreciate y'all. Somebody said the volume is very low before, but it's not actually. I mean, I got the volume up a lot. Anymore, I think it would start to create some distortion. Magali, I appreciate your super chat, sending you lots of love. You said much love. Love your beautiful voice, by the way. Thank you. I appreciate that compliment. You said, so lately I've been dealing with mental negativity, and in my head, at times I don't know what to believe. How do you let go of everything and boost back your ego? Well, first of all, I'm glad that you get the concept of ego that I've been sharing and discussing for a while here. I think you get it enough now to where this question will have utility without me going through the whole ego thing again. But to give people a quick crash course on what's happening here, when you mentioned boost back your ego in your words, it's because we're realizing here that the ego is damaged. And that's the critical state that the world is in right now. A majority, the people we call the populace society, society's ego is damaged. It's a beaten up, bruised and battered victim because it chooses to be a victim and it doesn't want to get up and take some action and change. It actually prefers to stay in victim mode, the blame game, if you will. And every time you do this, every time you push yourself out to the world as a victim, you're keeping your ego damaged. You're literally presenting this damaged thing to the world. And the issue with this is because the ego is actually the portal to intuition. And intuition is your divine essence. It is what makes decisions for you beyond what your mind thinks it should make a decision towards. This is like acting from the heart versus acting from the mind. Like before, when we were talking about relationship advice, the first thing that I said to do is sometimes you need to remember that this isn't all about you when you're talking about integrating with somebody else. Well, the thing when it comes to intuition is you need to remind yourself that what you're deciding to do, what you're doing for self, it's not all about your mind. And your mind is probably the only impure part about you, not your ego. Your ego is not impure. Your ego is there for a reason. It serves a purpose. It's actually quite an important purpose too. So I know this might be confusing to some people who are new here because they've been taught their whole life that ego is bad, and that is what we talked about earlier. If they tell you it's white, you say it's black. If they tell you to sit, you stand. If they say ego is bad, you say it's good. You keep applying that and think critically. Go within and apply this. That's where your answers are. So you're asking how to, you're confused here. Like you're basically exposing that you are dealing with confusion. You said at times, I don't know what to believe. Well, there's the thing, Magali. I told you earlier, you don't need to know what to believe in if all you believe in is you. I just want you to believe in you. Nothing else matters. It doesn't matter if Jesus is real or Krishna is real or Joseph is real or if Moses is real or if it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if heaven is a place you go when you die or hell is a place you go when you die. It really doesn't matter because Jesus, Moses, heaven, hell, and everything else, if it has a word attached to it, remind yourself that it is created by the mind of man. It's just a byproduct of the mind. So Magali, what I want us to practice is, what do you think? What do you feel? That's all that it is. So you're confused because you've been sold on this idea that the world is true and you're false. And you need to catch up with the world. That's bullshit. The world needs to catch up with you. See, they designed this whole fucking scam so that it's by default confusing. You're always questioning yourself. If you go the religious path, then you're always questioning the actions and thoughts you have. Does this make me a sinner? Is doing this a good thing? Is doing this a bad thing? Would God be happy or sad with me right now? Does the devil get happy when I do this? That's what you're caught up in that. And then ultimately it's when you die, where will you go? Fuck. Then you're never living. You're always anticipating. So, word of wisdom. You're the truth. The world needs to catch up to you. And if you're saying that you've been dealing with a lot of negativity, you need to become more present and you need to be more grateful for the things that you have. Because once you tap into the grace and once you're aware that you have everything you need and you have more than you need, there's no room for negativity there because you have it all. You're literally a infinite consciousness. You're a soul. Everything else is just here for the material. This reminds you that even the smallest amount of stuff that you have is still abundance. And you could only tap into abundance more by you removing yourself from choosing to be negative. That's a choice. The same thing that if you believe something is more true than the other thing, that's just a choice. We're always working on calculating and analyzing and creating this belief system of what's the better choice. This is like the devil and God on our shoulder. So everything we do, we pause a little bit before we do it because we analyze. And I think every time we do that, most of the time actually, we aren't listening to our hearts. It's like we don't trust ourselves at all. So I believe everything that I just went over will allow you to re-access trust for self, and this will heal the ego, which will allow you back into the access of intuition. And when you get there, I want you to be reminded that it's not you who's the problem. It's not you who's wrong. It's not you who needs to catch up. It's that everything else needs to follow you. This is why I made this statement before, over here on this shit platform, but it serves its purpose. This actually comes full circle to what Magali is saying right now. So I'll read this out for anyone who's listening to this like a podcast, okay? Every time you chase something, God walks away from you. Don't chase, let it come to you, and God will follow. See, they taught you to follow God. Everything is opposite. God is your shadow self. God is the most loyal thing that exists. It's your right-hand man. Your right-hand man follows you. Your ride or die is God. But every time you chase something, every time you force something, every time you put in mind more than you put in the effort of your heart, God walks away from you. So again, don't chase. Let it come to you, and then God will follow. This is your protector. And that can only happen for a being who decides to stop externally realizing God and realizes God as within. It is not without. It is always within. God is within you. It is energy. It is the life force of all. Every time you put in that resistance of the path of your heart, you're literally creating the anti-magnet effect, where you take the magnets and face them the other way and they repel. That's what you do to God. So if you want to have God back with you, by your side, remind yourself of this. One more moment. Somebody asks, do you smoke or use cannabis? No, I do not. I don't smoke anything. I don't. Yeah, definitely not weed. I believe I've talked about that in the past quite a bit, reasoning why. Simply Samantha, I appreciate you. Jodine, appreciate you. Crypto Jack Black, sending you lots of love. Hope you're doing well, Janet. Janet, also, I don't know if you're still here with me right now, but the next time we get together for an expansion group chat, can me and you talk about Roth IRAs, traditional IRAs, and SEP IRAs, if you know about those? I would love to pick your brain about that. So keep me in mind. I have just a couple of questions. I'm very aware of the system, as you know, and I'm aware of most things when it comes to this game of wealth and the fine print, if you will. But I know that you have some gnosis about the system from a deeper and more experiential perspective when it comes to some of these ways of not necessarily avoiding or circumnavigating or deferring. I wouldn't want to say that, but I think you know what I mean. Appreciate you, Janet. Dylan says, I was able to get around to watching a dark song this week, and man, that last scene about forgiveness had the waterfalls flowing. Yep, I told you, a dark song has the truth of truths in it, and it's something that I've talked about before. Like, here's a reminder, family. Like, we're going to take a couple seconds to pause to just allow you to become present, okay? Like, what I want everyone to do right now, we got 450 people with us. Okay. If you're sitting down or you're standing or whatever you're doing, just put your hands in your lap and connect all of your fingertips together. Thumb, pointer, all of them, just at the tip. Just connect your hands together that way. Don't put your palms together. And just hold that for a couple moments. And whilst you're holding that, I want you to just feel the energy moving through your fingertips from left to right, from one arm to the next. You're instantly going to feel a surge of energy moving across your chest. You've created a circuit. So now with this circuit of energy, I want everyone to do this once a month, but I think it'd be really nice to do it right now. Think of a person who you believe has done wrong against you. Whatever the first person that comes to your mind is, don't think too hard. This should be a feeling state, and it should happen right away. I want you to think about someone. It could be someone direct to you, personal. It could be somebody that's separate from you, even. Remember, there's no guilt or shame here. But hold this posture of having your hands connected the way I said, not your palms together. Palms are separate, just your fingertips. And when you feel that energy flowing through you, I want you to just think of the first person that you believe has done harm against you. And now I simply ask that you forgive them. You're going to feel the energy that moves around you change dramatically. It's going to push your breath in a different way. It's going to move your lungs and your organs in a different way when you do this. It's probably going to make your eyes start to water a little bit. And don't release this posture just yet. I want you to really feel into this conscious decision that you're making right now to forgive this person that you believe that's done wrong against you. Now, before you separate your fingers from each other, I want you to literally breathe out. Just breathe it all out as you release your hands from each other. And then just smile. So as you've opened up that circuit, You've now set free all of this energy. You're allowing it to go create somewhere else. You've given a gift to the world just now. You've transmuted this hate and this anger. You've not only transmuted it, you've gone through that conversion process, but now you've given back that energy to the world, back into the ether, to go create somewhere else. Because inside of you, it was doing nothing but destruction. And you might have thought that this person who did this to you was destroying you, but in actuality, they destroyed themselves. And that's not your concern anymore. I think we could do this once a month. And it's a reset. Like, even I feel it right now. Like, it's like a reset of, like, people want to know all the tricks of the trade to align your chakras. You just did it. You aligned the chakras of the fucking universe just now. Let alone your body. Going to move on to some questions we're getting here. Sarah Lynn says, Jordan, what do you say to the 6-year-old who asks what the voices are in her head? That's higher self. And that's where all of your wisdom derives from. That is you in a form that is divine. That voice that we have inside of our head. Just the fact that you can observe that says something. So think about that, right, Sarah? If I was to say right now to the child that the child tells me, right, that I could hear this voice inside of my, and we know, we're not talking about somebody who's schizophrenic, by the way. We're just, you know what I mean. The kids are amazing too, how they come up with some of this stuff, like how they're so in tune, you know? But imagine the kid was like, hey, I hear these thoughts. I could literally hear the voice of my thought. And then you ask the kid, well, then who are you? And the kid says, well, I'm Sarah, right? Imagine the kid's name was Sarah. The kid says their name. And then you ask the kid, well, if you're Sarah, then who's the voice? Is that the voice of Sarah? Is that the thought of Sarah? Where does that come from? And you start to see this, separation almost. And when we become consciously aware of that, that's actually called the awakening process. It's when we become consciously aware that there's something that is just like a volcano within us that's just pouring out lava all day. And we're like, we're trying to identify what's that volcano made of? Is that God? But then what's super interesting is then you could observe that person or that thing, that entity, and you become the observer of an observer who's creating. I bet if you brought this up to the child this way, they would actually be able to give you a more profound truth of what this is than any guru, any philosopher, anybody who has experience in life, because children have no experience and they have instant access to this volcano I'm speaking of. This like Mount Meru inside of them. It's incredible. This is why they come up with such, bizarre yet profound concepts and ideas. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, Jordan, this is called imagination. Bingo. Magi-nation. Ends in ion. The I, the magi. Nats, nature. Mother Nature. I, see, magi, the magician, nature, and energy. It's all in etymology. It's all in our words. But yes, that's correct. It is your imagination, which is the observer of an observer of an observer once you become consciously aware and have had this illumination process where you start to be able to look at it from that angle. You know, you become the eagle flying above, the bird's eye view, as they call it. Bird eye is the third eye. It's what sees without the sight, because it's the real sight. It shouldn't even be called the third eye. It should be called the first eye. But what I would do is, Sarah, did you notice what I just did right there? I wasn't trying to teach the kid anything. I was actually throwing the ball back at them. I was saying, here, you go. You take a shot. Because I know that they have it in them. They have the answer there. And I think we should work with children like that. We need to stop trying to be teachers to our kids and realize that they are the teachers. It's us who have this corrupt, impure mind that's always moving the ship. But the ship needs an ocean. And the purity and infinite access to imagination is the ocean. And children are the ocean. We're the fucking sturdy ship with the rusty anchor. And that's why they bring out this essence in us that makes us softer. It's like seeing a dog or a puppy. We become like all of the other things that are the problem during the day, right? You guys could all resonate with this. Let's just say you got into a car accident, you know, you got a little bit injured, you're late for work, you still have to go to work because whatever, you're scared you're going to get fired, you're super fucking like stressed, you don't know if you're going to lose your job. But then in that whole moment, you see a little puppy on the side of the road, like, you know, somebody's at a cafe sitting outside, puppy on the leash. Like, you getting to walk over and pet that puppy, like, erases the problem. And why is that? Why is it that that level of purity is such a reset for the soul? Well, because the puppy is the ocean. The puppy is the ocean. Your mind, if you're just working from mind, is a boat. Now you can be both. And that's what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about, it's not all about being the boat. It's about becoming the ocean. And a lot of us have access to this all the time and we disregard it. Sometimes you could literally be a parent right now with a 4-year-old right in front of you and you don't even realize that being has access to this wisdom that could be imparted onto you, which is that they are the ocean, you are the boat. Make that realization. Now, the ocean has a lot more to teach you than the boat. The boat was made by humans. Think about what the ocean was made of. See, the ocean, that's prana, that's life force, that's creative essence. And the funny thing is, if we were to have tidal waves, this ocean will destroy your boat. It will rip it to pieces. The wind and the waters are actually running the show here in the Matrix. Not the physical shit that humans built. And all that physical shit that humans built was of the mind. I hope I'm painting a picture here for everyone. It's that the purity is the soul. The purity is without the matrix. The purity is all the things that are etheric. And they know they are. They sense as if they are. I'll give a very good example of how we could bring this all full circle. You know how we have a winter time, right? And the leaves fall off the trees. Do you think the tree is crying as its leaves fall off? Or do you think it's smiling when it's growing fruit? Do you think it has all of this? I know we're not speaking literally, of course. We're trying to exercise the mind here. But what I thought of one time was that humans, the way we are, what creates all of this misery and suffering and depression is because we're like a tree that never wants to give up its leaves. We just want to hold on forever to the trauma. You know, I'm not even making a joke, but like seriously, that's what it is. We're like a fucking tree that just never wants to give up its leaves. And then we have the audacity to say, we've grown up. I'm a grown up. No, you're not. You're 50 and you still hate your mom. You need to learn forgiveness. Like until you're ready to do that, you'll be keeping these leaves forever. And what happens to these leaves? They're rotten and brown and turning black. They have no life left. They've lost all their prana. You're a decaying tree. Your root system is fucked. You have to get back into the natural cycle of just letting it go. Be like nature. It's okay for you to have a winter time. But guess what? When you enter that place that you're calling winter, maybe that's a darkness, a depression, or whatever. Oh my God, this is such a lit idea right here. When you are entering winter, when you're feeling this darkness, when things are not going your way, when you feel like you've been trying your hardest, doing your best, but maybe no one notices and you're not receiving that acceptance and validation, just remind yourself that you really are in the winter time. Now be like the winter. Give up your leaves. Let the snow cover you. That's where the solutions are. Be like nature. See, pain is beautiful. Pain is the teacher of teachers. Pain is the Lord of lords. You must embrace this. Because once you've had the pain, the scar tissue that develops, the thickness of the callus actually makes it so next time you'll not be affected by that once thing that you called pain. It's like if you were a boxer, your first time getting knocked the fuck out, it's like, what the hell just happened? But then, 20 fights later, you're used to getting punched in the face. Well, guess what, family? From the moment you're born, you're brought to a place where every day you're getting punched in the fucking face by something, by your parents, by your postman, by your doctor, by the bank teller, by the tax professional you hire someday. Everyone's punching you in the fucking face. People who say they love you to death are punching you in the face. So fucking embrace the pain. And then after 20 knockouts later, you start getting up and being like, damn, I kind of like that. I kind of like thinking that people believe that they could control me because they can't. I kind of like when people think that I'm, a loser, or when somebody makes fun of me, or when somebody tries to hurt my feelings. Let them think that. Let the world think that they can hurt you. Because in the background, what you're really doing is changing worlds. See, you need to go about life as if no one can damage your ego, because they never could actually. We were told they could, but every time your ego is damaged, that's because you allow it to be. Your ego is actually setting you up for every single winter, and it's like, yo, can we just let the leaves fall this time, please? And you go, no, fuck you, ego. I'm holding on to them this season. And guess what? You hold on to those leaves during the winter, they get decrepit, lifeless, and then now it's time for some fruit to grow, and it can't even grow on that tree. Think about what I'm saying right now. You can't grow fruit from a dead tree. So this is it. Embrace the pain. The pain is a teacher. The pain is trying to get you to let go for once. And when we talk about this concept of letting go, we're not looking at it from the traditional angle. We're not talking about detachment. I want you, again, everything is opposite. This isn't about detachment. This is about reattachment. When I say embrace the pain, I'm not talking about detach from it. I'm saying fucking hug it. I mean, you're looking for a mentor, you're looking for a coach. It's your pain. Embrace the winter. We all have one. The ones who thrive in this matrix are aware of how to let go. Subtle autism. You're too funny. You said, will you find a traditional housewife that cooks and cleans? And then you said, will your future girlfriend be hot? Come on now. Come on. Stop it. What does that really mean, though, a traditional housewife? It's really interesting. I think all of this stuff really distorts what we are and what we can be for each other, you know? It's an odd conversation to have. It's a really interesting thing to explore, what we believe we should do in a relationship, like what we think the role should be. If anything, the more we think about it, the more corrupted we become by our thoughts of it. And we feel into it a lot less. See, I think what a real man wants out of a partner is somebody that realizes that you're either in flow or out of flow. Excuse me, I should really drink something. How many hours have we been going? Is it like 2? Sorry. I want to go as long as I can, but I have my voice, you know. Anywho, I think what a man wants the most out of a partner is someone that could realize when you were in the flow state or when you've gotten out of flow state, and they can do whatever they can to support you getting back to where you need to be. I think that's the most beautiful thing a partner could offer. Not love, not companionship, that's all, ugh. What we want is when we start getting off the flow, can you remind us that we're an ocean? And it's also my role for the woman to remind her the same. When she gets out of this flow state of whatever it is that is her purpose, I need to be able to identify that and then remind her that she is the ocean, not the boat. And we live in a world right now where it's 2 boats, and that's all they will ever be. 2 boats on dry land with no ocean. And we call that a relationship. And you know what I call that? An experiment. Abs, much love, brother. Hope you're doing well. Hobby Time with Chris says you need some noise canceling headphones for the live streams. I appreciate that, but to be completely honest, I do these for so long that it would hurt my ears. Like it would just hurt having either something inside, like in ear pods, or to have over ear, no matter what. I mean, I know that I could go out of my way to get really high quality, nice, expensive ones, but for me, I've already done music production. I actually spent some time in school doing audio, so I know what it's like. I mean, music's my passion, so I know what it's like to do 3 hour, 4 hour, 5 hour sessions with over ear headphones. It's great and all, but it's really not the most comfortable. And if I can, it's like, why would I want to have that frequency like going directly into my head for so long? I just try to prevent that kind of stuff as much as I can. I know that sometimes it's annoying to have these outside disruptions, but a big piece of that is because I'm doing such long live streams. Like when you're going for 3 hours, there's going to be moments like that. But I appreciate you. Somebody said I need to talk about parasites. I did in the last live stream. Hail Metallica, I appreciate your super chat. You said, thank you, Jordan, for your art. Any advice to break a mental funk? Sometimes just when you get your flow state lit up, seems the lack always tries to creep in. Well, here's the thing, this reminder of the boat and the ocean. If you're entering flow state and the lack creeps in, it's because there's a hole in your boat. You got to patch that shit up. So it's up to you to identify the distractions, like what's getting you off of flow state. Quickly, just take a short list the next time when you get going on a creative project. Like there's nothing wrong with actually being methodical and writing down, like, okay, I was getting in on this project, I was doing this thing, but then I got a text from somebody and my phone made a sound. Okay, well, there's your problem. Turn off notifications when you're working on a creative project. Put your phone in airplane mode. Throw your phone in the fucking ocean. Whatever it takes. Like, create an environment where you don't have those disruptions or those distractions the best you can. Like before, I had this noise coming in. I can't do anything about it. For me, I just need to keep my mind locked in on what I'm answering the best that I can. And if it still gets me off the tracks, I could just pause, slow myself down, I just do whatever I can. I'm the 95% solution based mind. But I've been prepared. I prepare for all of that stuff. Like before I get going on a live stream, there is preparation that goes into it. I need to shut the windows. I need to close the doors. I need to, be at a certain part of the room so that I have the best Wi-Fi connection. I need to make sure that the microphone is at least far enough away from a wall so it's not like a disgusting reverberation noise. I'm doing my best here to be prepared and to create an environment so that I can do the live stream. Even my conscious decision to look at the phone for the questions, I don't look at the questions on a computer screen because the phone is dark, small text. It's actually smaller. And I exercise my eyes more by doing it. I feel like I have more control and I don't want to stare at the screen that's so lit up. Excuse me. I just create an environment that works, that's conducive to me doing what I got to do. It's funny, actually, and I want to pick your guys' brain about this. Oh, my God. Excuse me. I've been drinking this juice of ginger, grapefruit, lemon, like fresh squeezed lemon. The whole lemon, by the way, like not the rind wasn't taken off. Like it's super intense. And orange to get like a little sweetness. But mamma mia, like it is Whew, this thing is alkalizing as we speak. I could like feel it. But damn, I was just about to say something. Maybe it's not that important. Oh, okay, yeah. What I was going to say was, you guys know, you probably have a list of YouTubers that you follow. I mean, maybe some of you follow 5 people, maybe some of you follow 10. There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe you follow more. But do you all agree with me that they would actually become maybe... no, I don't like the way I'm framing this because this isn't fair. Okay, I'll bring this back to me because that's the way I roll. I feel by doing these live streams, it's made me so incredibly like tapped into the utility of my mind and my soul, and just channeling in this gnosis on the fly with no script and answering these questions raw, live, no edits. You know, like I don't have, like, you guys know me. There's like, I can't be sitting around thinking for fucking 5 minutes while I answer a question. And I'm choosing questions quickly. Like from the second I wrap up an idea, I move on very quickly to something else. Like this has built the most amazing skill for me of just tapping into thought and memory and piecing ideas together without getting too complicated. You know, somebody even complimented on that earlier about how I'm simplifying a lot of stuff in a way where it's not to leave out the truth or to leave out the important stuff, but it's actually to keep the important stuff and have it be based in truth, but just spoken in a way that touches on the feeling side of it rather than the analytical data side of it. Like, you guys probably know me. I don't give a fuck really about the data when it comes to truth. Like, I think knowledge and having all of this information doesn't serve you until you apply it in real life and see how it actually creates an experience for you. I'm an experience-based being, which I believe that's what wisdom actually is. Wisdom is not knowledge or information. Wisdom is applied knowledge, applying the information in real life. And then not only that, after you've applied the knowledge, how do you react or respond based on how someone else reacts or responds to that wisdom? That's a whole other layer to the game. This becomes like chess, because when you're thinking about where this other person stands in life, well, you have to be aware of where, are they political? Are they religious? Are they, you know, like where can you push the buttons? How hot can you make the sauna? How spicy are they? Like how much spice can they handle for tonight's dinner? You know, when you're talking with other people, it's the same act. It's the same charade. Well, I don't treat these live streams like that because I don't need to. I could be 100% raw, truthful, say whatever I need to say, and people don't like it or get offended. They could X out and it's all good. Like, it doesn't bother me. I know I put so much love into my words that I don't burden myself by the people who disagree. If you're here to find things you agree with or disagree with, you're in the wrong place, because I don't treat you that way. Every single person who's listening to this right now, I would never, if you were to book a private call with me, if you were to work with me directly, I would never try to find what's right or wrong with you. And I suggest that you start moving in a similar fashion if you want this matrix to be more abundant for you. Please, please, please listen to what I just said and think about what I said, and think about it curiously. Don't think about it analytically. Think about it curiously. When I stopped trying to find what's right or wrong about someone else is where I started to become divine. Like internally, I started to feel the divinity flowing through me, because that level of judgment doesn't serve me. It never served me. Nothing is right or wrong or good or bad. Everything is circumstantial. And if you don't realize that, then there's some room to grow there, of course. Everything is circumstantial. Everything is as it is, because that's all life is anyways. The now moment, right now, this only moment we have, presence, cannot be right or wrong. It just is. And when you're able to accept it as it is and accept all the player characters in your life as they are in this moment, you will start to see that you're going to start extracting consciousness out of life. in a way that you've never felt before, because you're no longer trying to find who's right or wrong. But most people go about life always trying to find, is this guy right or is this guy wrong? That's the trap, family. That's the trap. I'm not telling you to not be analytical. I'm not telling you to not, but really, you can't check in with your heart and how you're resonating with something if all you're doing is playing the right and wrong game. You're never going to be able to do it. See, consciousness is almost unexplainable. Spiritualism is unexplainable. It exists past the bounds of the material. That's what makes it so beautiful. That's what makes it so awe, you know? Is because you can't even explain it. It's like explaining what love is. You know, we have quick ways to identify what love could be and how to like the applicable sense of love, but the practice of love is, my goodness, how do you even explain that? It's like everything is good. Everything is good in theory until you practice it, right? Now you have to deal with how it's going to be received. I hope these ideas are making sense. And that's where the right and wrong game distorts us. It makes us stroll further away from our intuition and more into a pit. Think about this, really think about this. Why did the last 2 to 3 years, because of this pandemic, go so well for the apex predator? Why were they able to bamboozle so many people? Because they told you that there's this group of people called the World Health Organization, and they set the rules, requirements, and truth about what this pandemic is. And everything they say is truth. Therefore, everyone has to go along to that protocol and follow it, no matter what your population is, no matter what your population density is, no matter how many people own businesses and would be losing everything they've ever saved up for in their whole life financially, even if we destroy their business. Like, it disregarded everything because it just was whatever the word of the World Health Organization is, that is truth. And that must be applied. You see the trap here? Then what the world becomes is, well, everything that isn't the requirement of the world, I keep wanting to say WEF, but everything that is not what the World Health Organization suggests is therefore false. Like, that's a mind-blowing game to play. So if you as a more conscious being have something that doesn't fit along the guidelines of what the WHO says, well, then you're the idiot. You're the one who's wrong. You're the one who is false. You're the one who's spreading misinformation. That's really interesting how that works. You become the one who's wrong because everyone else has chosen what is right based on the belief of specialists, of experts, so-called. It's a fucking trap. So for the people who heard before me saying that stop trying to find who's right and wrong, and you don't like what I'm saying, like that bothers you, that's making your stomach grumble a little bit, well, I'm sure you can feel now where I'm coming from. Because the world does it to you all the fucking time, don't they? Every time you have something to say about the shape of the earth or about what's going on in politics, or like that the Federal Reserve just prints money out of thin air, like no one gives a shit. Everyone says you're wrong. Because that's how they were conditioned. They were conditioned in a way to treat you as the guy who's wrong because you're not giving the standard definition of what truth is according to the populace. How does that make you feel? It's frustrating. So why do you keep treating people like this? Got to look in the mirror now a little bit, right? So again, stop going about everything you consume as this right or wrong thing. Or the he's better or she's better or he's worse and she's worse. Like, fuck that. That doesn't serve your purpose. Like, you are just here simply to extract data. And when the data doesn't serve you, you know how to say, that's not necessary. I could pick a better battle. I could put my attention somewhere else. That's on you. You're going to have to be the one that determines all of that. You're going to have to be the one that says, that is a distraction. That is a distraction. That's a distraction. And, that thing kind of resonates with me. Let me stop here. Let me stop here and look at this as if I would look at a painting that I like, or as if I would listen to a song that I love. That's all you got to do. There is no right or wrong about music. There is no right or wrong about love. There is no right or wrong about the weather right now. It just fucking is. Again, be like nature. Is it right when it's drizzling and then it's wrong when we have a flood? And why is it wrong? Is it because it's destroying your man-made illusion? That's interesting. So when it doesn't rain for too long and we have a drought, some rain is good, but flood is always bad. Oh, okay. And this is the state of human consciousness today. It's stuck there. It's stuck. That's the trap of traps. Adam Arias, I appreciate your super chat, brother. You said, we're so grateful for your art, Jordan. We talk about things we learn about ourselves more than just on date night. Much love, Adam, Sarah, and baby girl Ainsley. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Ainsley? Appreciate you. That's beautiful. Somebody the other day was telling me how they watch these lives with their whole family. Like, they have like 2 kids. I think one of them's a young teenager, like 13, and the other one's like 17. Like mom, dad, teenagers. And I was like, wow, that I don't even know how to express my gratitude to that. 'Cause like, I never knew that I would fit that. I don't even know how to put it in words. I'm not even going to try. I'm just grateful. That's all. Super grateful. I appreciate that. But then also I think sometimes about how, we get into topics and ideas and stuff where it's like, whoa, having your family there, like, there's such personal ideas that hit the core of the person's soul, as they've hit mine before. And I just wonder, what would it be like to be 13 and hear this? Like, how does a 13-year-old think of what is going on here? They haven't heard this shit at school. They haven't, this is, I think most, and this is not an attack at any parents right now. So if you're a parent with a teenager, please listen from your heart. I'm not trying to go there right now. Okay. I'm really speaking curiously, actually, with what I'm about to say. It's actually pretty noticeable that most parents wouldn't even want to speak the way that I speak to that age range. But I'm sure that they would allow that age range to listen to me speak. But they themselves might feel a little uncertain if they should talk this way with their own developing adults, basically. If like you're 17, 18 years old, like you're basically, you've developed mostly hormonally. I'm not going to get into any of that other stuff. You guys know what the hell I'm talking about right now. But like you're there, you're in your process of going to school, and even if your parents don't curse, even if your parents don't smoke weed, even if your parents don't talk to you about sex, even if your parents don't talk to you about, boys, even if your parents don't talk, you see it at school. You see it when you go hang out with your friends. Your parents can hide alcohol from you all they want. You're still going to come across it. right? Let's just be real here. Every time our parents tried telling us not to do something, that was like a key word for like, go do it. That we were all assholes as kids. That's just what we do. We're rebellious. And, you know, whether you're 13, 14, I mean, I don't even know. Kids these days are probably getting into stuff way younger, which is sad, but it's true. I could just make a quick assumption. So we need to talk to kids at the younger age about truth, about the real, because they're going to see life anyways and experience parts of life anyways. You could shelter them from it all you want, or you could try to control it all you want, which is the opposite of love. And love is allowing. And that's all you're getting here on this live stream. You know, like it's just a flow. That's really funny because the next thing I came across, Jeffrey says, Jordan, do you think there'll be a time that the government of public schools teaches us the things you teach us? Yo, I'm really sorry, Jeffrey. First of all, Jeffrey, I appreciate you for showing up tonight. That means a lot to me to have you here. Secondly, you know what I'm doing right now? Everything I speak of is anti-Bolshevism. It's anti-Talmud. It's anti-parasite. It's anti-damaged ego. It's anti-socialism. It's anti-communism. See, this is the thing. But getting back to that key word, Bolshevism, it's anti the problem of problems, which is a system that is ran by a group of individuals who control mainstream media, school at all levels, from lower, like kindergarten through public, you know, school up to the highest levels, graduating, becoming a doctor. The doctoral system is created by the same people. It's governed and controlled by the same people, which is also in connection with the World Bank, IMF, all central banking systems, including the big daddy, the Federal Reserve System, which is also tied into the food industry, everything involving that, which comes back to big pharma, and they're all connected into that. See, this same leech that sucks your blood, they all believe in a similar thing, which is that I, the person who's speaking with you right now, is a goyim. I am a cockroach. This is what they think. And that because I am not of their bloodline and I do not practice their teachings, I am not the chosen one. This is what they think, by the way. So you're hearing right now the words of a dirty goy. I know this is really harsh for some people. This might be a turnoff, but we're just being direct and honest. So that's it. I'm not eligible to be the deliverer of wisdom by the system, because the system was created by people who were elected, chosen, bloodline elite. But that's just the way it is. And if you speak or expose the ways of these people and their family and the way their family operates, well, you're kind of speaking against the programmer and the programming language of this simulacrum, which is fear. Everything that we speak of here is reversing. It's taking the leech that's been sucking onto your skin and it's pulling the leech off, and then feeling what it feels like to no longer have that leech sucking your blood. You hear how cautious I am with everything that I say. Like, I'm not blaming the New World Order. I'm not blaming the Federal Reserve. I'm not blaming the World Bank. I'm not blaming the World Economic Forum. And I'm not blaming the World Health Organization. I'm just exposing the machinations of how they've been able to hypnotize everyone. I'm the guy that's walking over to the person who's currently hypnotized, and I'm I'm just taking their own hand and putting it over their own heart. And I'm saying, feel that heart that beats in your chest. Okay. You're alive now? All right? That's your life force. Stop letting them suck your life force away from you. That is anti what they're doing. Their whole thing is to keep you in fear as much as humanly possible so that you behave, so that you're obedient, so that you're a well-kept, well-groomed slave. That is the beast system. Somebody said that I'm an atheist. I am absolutely not an atheist. I do not prescribe to any ism or ist, and I think that that's an interesting assumption, considering my name is WatersAbove, where I got that title from the book of Genesis. So interesting how somebody could so quickly come to that. Anyway, DJ Technique. Appreciate you, brother. Hope you're doing well. You said finally able to catch a live stream. Just want to tell you I appreciate you and everything you do for this community. Been with you for a while now. I hope you're doing well, brother. I believe I know who you are based in our Discord. It's just I think you go by a couple different names, so it's hard to remember. But I think I know who you are, brother. I hope you're doing well. OG Wolf in the house means a lot to me. Got a super chat from George B. Appreciate you, brother. That means a lot. You said I have a friend that is basically allergic to everything. Grass, cats, shellfish, and most fruits, like all the melons, bananas, but can consume grapes. Any suggestion as far as getting rid of allergies or just eat what she can? Yeah, absolutely. You could work through allergies. It's kind of difficult because a lot of it is triggered by getting vaccines at a young age. Or taking antibiotics at a young age. Any of the pills and potions and stuff they inject in you at an early age, which is all done on purpose. Again, that comes back to that bloodline that I was speaking of earlier. They're pro that, whilst I am completely against that. And I look at life as if we heal ourselves, while that bloodline believes they're the ones that get to be the healers of you. Good business model, eh? Anyways, getting back to this question. This individual needs to have fun with fasting. They need to start getting into it. And another big thing that they could consider is Shivambu. Now, I'm not going to go deep into Shiv, but just look it up. Tell them it's something they could consider if they want to rebuild their immune system and their gut microbiota and get back on the right track. But this is a process. And I think if you consider it, even though it might seem a little weird at first, there's nothing better in life than feeling healthy again and being able to eat, without the worry. Now, I'm not saying that it'll be instantaneous. There's a process here. But I'd be careful on reintroducing, by the way. So if there's anything that this individual is allergic to, slowly reintroduce it, but only after you've done some fasting. I'm going to take a sip of water real quick. Janet, thank you. I appreciate you writing back. Magali said, I think I stopped believing in myself and started believing in everyone else. Thank you for helping me remember. Love you. That's it. That's it. Hobby time with Chris, and my girlfriend is smiling big time right now. Shout out to your girlfriend. Jai, I appreciate you, Jai. I hope you're doing well. OG Wolf, you said, how do you forgive someone that killed one of your family? Yeah, that's deep. Like, I know that exercise that we did earlier, it's not simple. It's not easy to tap into that. And for a lot of people, it seems like nonsense that you could even attempt this in some of the most darkest situations that you've lived through. I get it. That's really, you asked a question that I get a lot. when it comes to this idea of forgiveness is how could we forgive somebody that's done something that's very evil, something that, you know, it just shakes up your beingness, and it makes it difficult for you to even imagine how someone else could do this to somebody else. I get it, you know? But have you ever heard of the word impossible? Impossible is the ceiling that you've invited over your own head. Impossible is the ceiling of the next stage of growth. It's the barrier between where you are today and where you could feel next. And the reason you're unable to feel that is because you think of this concept called impossible. And you're probably applying this to exactly what you just brought up. So I want you to meditate on that idea for a little bit. When you said, how do you forgive someone that killed somebody in your family, or anything that anyone wants to bring up? Think about that word impossible and think about how that's a choice. Impossible is a choice. It's the ceiling that we put over us that limits us. It's a limiting belief. And this is all part of that math equation. What gets you to that solution is actually by you being in the process of meditating on what I just said for a little bit of time. The Tsiggy, I appreciate you. Much love. Appreciate your super chat. You asked a question about reincarnation. I'm not entirely sure how much I've went over this in the past. It's kind of a deep concept. Sorry, I'm missing some of your response. One second. Yeah, you know, to be just very direct about this idea of reincarnation, or what happens after life, what happens after our soul leaves this physical, you know, costume, and what occurs. I think we burn a lot of calories on our imagination there. And I think what we could do is redirect those calories and use them in a wiser fashion. So instead of the thought about what happens after death, let's redirect that caloric, you know, utility back to life. Instead of spending so much time thinking about what happens after death, let's channel that prana to life. That's my response. Because I can get intricate and I could share all of my theories, but they're theories. But like, what do we do about now? That's what separates me from a lot of people, I think, when it comes to this. Is I'm always trying to catch myself when I'm putting my heart in tomorrow, and I take that heart back and I put it right back, right where it needs to be. It's here. It's beating in this chest. It's with you guys right now. That's what serves me. That's what gets the work done. That's where the healing is. So I know it's fun sometimes to play the game of what's going to happen next, but that's actually the biggest trap. It's fun to play the game, but it doesn't serve us too much. Now, I did miss a little bit of the super chat. It got cut off for whatever reason. There's somewhat of a glitch, so I'm not sure if I read everything like in your question, but I still appreciate your support. It really means the world to me, and I think I got the bigger point out. Ian says, my puppy is the ocean. That's facts. And when you start to apply what I'm saying right now, you're going to realize that that moment where you see an animal or you see a child being playful and silly and funny, you see a puppy, you see whatever, a deer crossing the road, hopefully it doesn't get hit, but you know what I mean? You're going to go back to presence really quickly, and it's going to recenter you back in your heart. And just remember what I said. You know, that dog, that child, they are the ocean. And I could mimic that too. Like I could feel as they feel. And that's because you're being altered by observing something that is feeling presence. Whether you know this consciously or it's completely happening on the spirit realm. Like, you're feeling it because that's what it is. You're there. Jarvis Campbell II says, in regards to God walking behind you, I remember the story of Abraham and God told him, walk before me and be perfect. So yes, that makes sense. This is it, Jarvis. Like, I think it's really important for us to, okay, I like the word discernment, right? Like, that's something we have access to that very few have. The discernment is like a preliminary stage to pure intuition, right? So that discernment that kicks in, it makes you start going, you know what's going on? I think if we just instantly apply the everything is opposite rule, I don't like using the word rule, but just for fun, just to have fun with it. Like, if you apply that really quickly and you just go, they told me to follow God, so it has to be the opposite. And you go, oh shit. And you feel something when you do that every time, because you go, that's where the fucking answer is. That's where it was hidden. It was hidden under the rock. Okay? When you pull the sword out of the rock, it's because you turned everything opposite for a moment. They created this black and white world and you brought color to it. The black is just the canvas for the white, for the light. It's the process you need to do anyways. This is what enlightenment is. En, in, light. En ment, mente, mentis. The light within the mind. The mind is a gift, but yes, it is impure. It becomes a gift when you make this realization. The reason everything is operating at opposites is because you are the observer of it. Without you, there is no thing. So you are the divine observer. You are the divine witness. It has to be that for there to be polarity. There's the thing you're witnessing, and there's you. This is Yakin and Boaz. This is the sun and the moon. Okay? Your observation is everything. And they've corrupted the mind of man by having people take shit so literally when it's all imperable. And I'm talking about raw religion right now. The popular Abrahamic sun worship religions, to be precise. It's always out of you. It's always out. And I'm saying no, it's always within. Everything they've externalized, everything you read in those so-called holy books, it's the mind of man being expressed through ink, pen, quill, on papyrus. It's just the mind of fucking man. And it just so happens to be a much wiser man than you, probably. Not you, Jarvis, or anyone who's listening to this, but you know what I mean. The idea here is that we forget this sometimes. We forget that it's all just the compilation of thoughts of man. Okay, I'm just looking through this. Vicky says, truth, simple, lies are complicated. Well, the reason for that is because when you tell a lie, you have to remember what you lied about. And if you tell the truth, you never have to remember anything that you said. See, lies are a photo book. Truth is the movie playing real time. Busy Genius said, why do you call relationships experiments? Well, I explained that earlier. The idea here is that you just go back to the word. What does relate mean? Let's pull it up. Let's just have fun with the definition. What does relate mean? By the way, if it has the word ship in it, ship is used for shipping, for movement, for taking something from point A to point B. This is the basic breakdown of that word. It's a vessel that carries information, data, or physical goods over to another destination. That's what ship is, all right? So it's just taking what relate is and bringing it to something else, all right? Now, what does relate mean? It's to give an account of, to establish or demonstrate a connection between, to have connection, relation, or reference. This is very like basic kind of shit. So let's just break down the word a little bit more. We know late is not now. It's after late. It's also really weird because if you know other languages and you start breaking this down a little bit more, like latte or lait, like milk. Anyways, that just like, that's what's important about learning other languages if you can, knowing some of the connections like that. But you have over again, to redo. It's a process of, it's a cycle. Anytime you see you just think of cycle. You repeat, etc. So over again, and this connection that you have, to do that over and over again. And it's like kind of easier to break down what the meaning of words is if you look at it from this perspective. I know we have the definitions, but you might want to break it down a little bit further. And it starts to make a lot more sense, I believe. Now, an experiment is when you do something that you're unsure of because you're looking for a result. I want to get out of the screen because I might start confusing people, okay? Just think about everything I brought up before. You have the concept of relate. You guys know what that means, what it means to relate. We're going to go super simple right now, okay? You relate, and then you have the word ship, to bring, to send, to deliver. To relate, to deliver this relation. Now, what is an experiment? An experiment is something that you're doing curiously for a result. It's not actually as much about the process as it is about the outcome. That's what an experiment is. So you go on a date and you say, I want to make her smile, laugh, think that I'm attractive. Okay, I'll make this even crazier. Before you even go on the date, you're like thinking about what outfit you're going to wear, taking a shower, like being like, you know, like if you have one hair coming out of your beard in a weird way, you trim that one hair. Like you're so cautious about all this stuff. Why? Because you want that reaction. Logan, actually, shout out to Decoded Reality. He brought up something that I think I could riff on for a second that might be also kind of fun. So shout out to Logan. He said, when you are about to go to the dentist, what do you do before you go to the dentist? It's like 99% of the time people say, well, I brush my teeth. Because you don't want to be that, you don't want the teeth specialist to judge you. The same way you would do all this extra shit before going on a date. All right? Now you're doing it for the response that it receives. You're doing it because you want to be validated. You're doing it because you want to be agreed with. You're doing it because you want to be accepted. That's the outcome of it all. You're not doing it because you want to express yourself and then have someone else express themselves and then you play music together. Because that's what it really should be. When you come together with another soul, you've just decided to start a band. Like, she's playing the drums and you're playing, the piano. And if you were to do a relationship like a song, oh my God. But then the song's over and you either want people to clap or they boo. Like, most relationships are not relationships. Relationship is when you're playing the song. The experiment is when you're wondering about, will there be booing or will there be applause? Is this hitting home? So again, most modern things that we call relationships are actually just experiments. Because if we related, we would actually be sending that ship back and forth, and it would simply serve that. The same way when you touch your fingertips together on both of your hands, you could feel the energy surging around you in a circle. If you think of how torus fields work, the toroidal field, like everything is just going out of the crown chakra, out of the root chakra, and then it's back into the center around you, and then it just keeps going over and over and over again. It's the energy circuit of life, the torus field. So you get it? Like, that would be a healthier way of integrating with another being. Like, another way of bringing this up from a different angle is you never think about your breath that you take until your head is underwater. How many of you right now are in a relationship where it feels like you're holding your head underwater? And for the ones that aren't, you probably feel it's like unconscious breaths. It's your lungs, your respiratory system, everything is just automated. I think that was a perfect way to actually put this, to seal the deal on this idea. Like, your normal breath, you never think about until you're underwater. And that suffocating feeling happens in so many ways, whether it's with your boss that you have, with your partner, it could be the way your children and you are, and your relationship with your kids. You know, kids go through that stage where they start becoming teenagers and they're like angsty, and everything you think is wrong. They don't care at all about your wisdom or teachings. They just think you're a parent and all parents are the same. You're nerds. We don't care about you. I'm going to go hang out with my friends now. You know, there's that stage, and then eventually they grow out of that and whatever. We all did the same shit too. Now, that could be the relationship you have with your kid right now. And every time they walk in the room and you want to be nice to them and you want to have a conversation and you want to be a part of their life, they create an environment for you where it feels like your head is underwater. That's just life. You need to learn how to learn to swim, like they said in what is it? Anima by Tool. You know, learn to swim. Learn, like, oh man, this is perfect what we were talking about before. Like, life is like you're born, and from the moment you're born, everyone's punching you in the face. Learn how to get good at taking some right hooks. Learn how to take the body shot a little, easier. Learn how to lean into it. Learn how to parry. These are some boxing analogies. If you guys don't know what the hell I'm talking about, I'm sorry, but right? Like, when it comes to a relationship, it's typically one of those two feelings. It's am I even thinking about my breath right now? Or does it feel like I'm suffocating and I'm grasping for air every time? And when you get your air back, when that person leaves your sight. Like, when you know that you're in a toxic thing, when you're in a toxic relationship, is when your partner leaves and you actually go, when you come up from the water and you have like fucking seawater in your nose and you're like coughing. I know everyone could feel exactly what I'm saying right now, and that's why I'm glad I thought of this. You're in some toxic shit if the moment that person leaves your space, you're like gasping for, like, you're like, oh, thank God. It's like God was holding your head under the fucking water, right? But guess what? That was you. That you were doing that to you. That's an experiment. That's a failed experiment, by the way. Like, it's time to wrap that one up. This is like germ. It's kind of a funny side tangent, but I'm assuming a lot of you here know about germ theory. Well, germ theory is actually quite beautiful in one way. They design the entire system based around a lie so that every other system that comes back to that system supports that lie. So that's the only way to really lie, is to create lies that support that other lie. And if you could create like 20 other lies that are like part of this Russian doll going back to the core called germ theory, then you could fucking bamboozle anyone. How genius is that? Remember what I said before, family? It's built off of a response that somebody gave me. They said that truth is simple and lies are complicated. Exactly. That's why when somebody asks NASA to explain a solar eclipse, they need to remember the 15 lies that support the initial fucking lie. You see? Because if you created a system based in the core of a lie, you need to have a whole bunch of supporting lies to make that core fib seem like truth. And the more fractaled out it is of lies, coming back to this, you know what's fascinating too? They hide grains of truth within those lies because they know conscious beings like us are going to catch up to it. So when we catch up to that little nugget of truth within it all, we're going to go, oh, okay. And then we're going to settle there sometimes. You know how sophisticated the New World Order is, man? So that's so true. Like, truth is simple, lies are complicated, because when you tell a lie, you have to remember every lie that led up to it and all the lies you're going to build around it. When you speak the truth, you don't need to remember shit. It just is. It flows out of you like breath. And a lie is when your head is underwater. You have to hold in. And guess what? NASA just knows how to hold their breath longer than all of you. Heck. I appreciate your super chat. Means a lot. You said, is it a good idea to give a 12-year-old a credit card so they can build their credit score from an early age? What's your advice to parents to how they set up their kids about financial literacy from the beginning? You know, I don't care if your kid is 4. You know, now I don't know if you could give a kid a credit card at 12 on their social security number or whatever their tax identification number is. You probably have to co-sign for them. I'm not sure what age you could actually start a line of credit. I don't know. And also, I don't know what country you live in. Like, I'm sure this is different on every single level. But when it comes to financial literacy, first and foremost, what we should be teaching children is that money is thoughts. Money is ideas. So when you have that kid just oozing in all of these ideas and thoughts, that's money. Tell them that. Teach them that. Then they don't need to think about this fucking paper or the dollar symbol with the numbers next to it. We are spellcasting our children the wrong way. Teach your kid that they're already a trillionaire because they have access to their imagination. Their imagination creates these thoughts. Thought is thoth. This is the generator of all currency out of nothing. That's the first thing we should be teaching kids. Day one, when you're teaching them how to speak, you should be going through this. I think it's time we start a school. That's what my next project is, but you guys didn't hear me say that. Anyways, we should be teaching kids about that. Teach them about the language spells. Teach them about what the truth is of what money actually comes back to at the end of the day. It's thought. And the strength of how they leverage on that gnosis comes back to some of the other things we speak of, which is the taking action phase. So yes, that would be the opening the bank account, getting some of the Bitcoin, getting the gold and silver if that's what you're into, getting the credit cards, all of that, learning how to leverage on debt, learn how to leverage on speculative assets, learn how to leverage on whatever's going on in inflation at the time, etc. Now, what should you not do with kids? Don't set them up with this retirement plan 401k nonsense. Have them learn how to become conscious investors. Now, there's nothing wrong with 401ks necessarily, but you know, like if you think about inflation year after year and all of that, like you're just making a bad choice. There's better choices. Now, some people in certain circumstances with a certain level of financial acumen, I mean, maybe the 401k is the best thing that they could consciously do for their situation. But here, we're enlightened beings. We're much more aware. We're very sophisticated. So we would never go that route. The same thing with a savings account. A savings account is a waste of fucking time. You know, teach your kid how to become an entrepreneur. Teach them how to take cash that they earn. Like, let's just say they're old enough now to start mowing the lawn, or it snows. Get them to go around town shoveling the snow for the older people in the community. Now, what you want to do is teach them that what they're doing right now, this is so important. I really need everyone to pay attention to what I'm about to teach. Teach the kid that they're not shoveling the snow for money. Because when you program a human being that task equals money, you're programming them to become a slave mindset. They already know the truth of truths. It's that thoughts are money. Don't conflate. You're going to create inconsistencies in the overall idea here. Thoughts are money. Teach that kid to be an entrepreneur. Now, what's going to happen is you told the kid, you're going to go shovel for the old people. And whether they give you $10 or they ask you how much you want, you tell them 20 and they give you 25. Whatever that amount is, you did not shovel that fucking snow for money. You did that to take care of your community. That's why you did it. You did it to be a part of the people. That's why you did that task. You did it because someone else can't do it and you physically can. This is how we make kids want to do things for other people without there being some sort of a reward system on the other end. This really builds a much stronger leader. This is what leaders do. Then eventually when their value that they could provide outshines, whatever the task is, then they could start thinking about the money thing. That's much later in the game though. We're talking about like 12-year-olds here. Okay? Then what we do is with the money they're earning, you teach them how to put that money to work, have the money work for you, right? So it's not about saving. You don't want to, the saving mindset, again, is not what you want to teach kids. You want to teach the kid to always number one reminder that thoughts are money. So what I would tell you to do after the kid makes its first $20 is say, now what will you do with that money? And when it tells you what it's going to do, it says, I'm going to go buy, candy bar, soda, whatever. You say to them, well, what do you think would be better to do with that money? And then just start getting their mind going. There is no right answer here. Just get their mind going. Get their mind thinking that what I initially thought I should use my money for was probably not the wisest thing because I'm being questioned right now after I was asked that question. See, that's something they're never going to do to you in school. In school, they're teaching you a slave mindset, which is to be a consumer. Entrepreneurs figure out a way to take what they've earned and then reinvest it into something else that reinvests into something else that reinvests into something else. And the next thing you know, they have like 15 income streams. Then they don't even need to worry. And you could get that all taught to a kid before they're a teenager. So that's it. And you asked me about credit cards. And I didn't even get there because that's like seriously unimportant. Like, just it's cool if you can do it. If you could open up the credit card, great. But what I just shared before, I think, is the sauce. That's the recipe. Go cook. The credit cards are great. I mean, I actually just... I don't know how much I should say about this because I've talked about it before and it's just not a priority for me. But I personally am like a credit card wizard, and it's something that I knew a lot about, leveraging on credit cards, welcome bonuses, 0% APR, welcome bonuses and stuff, all that shit. How to repair a poor credit score, how to get to an excellent credit score, how to strategies and timing and opening up bank accounts with earned interest, and how to leverage on the relationship with that bank to open up credit. Like I'm on fire when it comes to that stuff. Actually, probably more than crypto, believe it or not. But it's not really something that is a priority. So I know I taught a little bit about it in my crypto mastermind. So if anyone's interested in everything I just said, in my crypto mastermind, there is a section in the beginning intro material that talks about how to take advantage of some of the beginner tactics to get you on the right path. Of course, it's not applicable for the whole world because US, is different from the UK. It's different from Europe. It's different from Australia. So it's just the technique and strategy you could think of and apply it according to where you are. But in the future, I will definitely be making more art around credit card strategies and leveraging on debt. Pac-Man, I appreciate your super chat. You said, hi, Jordan Tree and Leaves example is perfect analogy of strong ego as well. Trees are dropping leaves because they want be able to feed itself, so choice is clear. Me, tree, happy life. I appreciate you, brother. I think kind of where you're going with this is that the tree is allowing the leaves to fall from it because it knows that it's gonna be right back anyways. And by giving up the leaves, it allows for this process that'll make it bear fruit. And if you just hold onto your leaves and keep holding and your root system starts to decay and just become rotten, you're not going to be able to bear fruit anymore. See, nature knows that it's the loss, it's the pain, it's the letting go that actually creates. It's like that Donnie Darko thing where he says creation is a form of destruction, right? Or destruction is a form of creation. Excuse me. But you guys see where that's coming from, right? Because it's more in the path of nature. It's funny how we cut our grass like every week. Like, what are we doing? Like people are, every week they're like, I gotta mow my lawn. It's like, is that really it? Anyways, they're just having fun here. All right, I'm getting through to some of these questions. I appreciate the super chat, family. And by the way, tomorrow I will have the new Red Pill podcast out over on Patreon. I had some people asking about annual memberships. So over on Patreon, if you click the toggle, if you're trying to make a new membership, there's a toggle that gives you a 15% discount if you pay a year in full. It's actually a pretty cool feature for those people that are, looking to get better value. And even if you don't want to be active moving forward, you'd be unlocking an entire library of podcasts and live streams. So every single live stream that I've ever done, like the one you're listening to right now, is stored in a Livestream Archive. We're doing 2 to 3 hours on most of them. So it's about 93 or 94 of these live streams. So just the people that appreciate that, it's unlocking a library of live streams, 120 podcasts, and then also access to the Discord community that we have. So appreciate all of your support. One thing I always tell people that I like to remind is for people that want to give donations or super chats, I pour my heart and soul into these responses, and you guys know that now after 2.5 years of doing this. But the better value would probably be investing in something like the Patreon membership, because then you're getting like content, you're getting art along with it as part of that investment. So it means the world to me when people do these super chats, but I'm a real one. And I think that's the path. There's so much in there, especially if all you're really into is these lives. Okay, I'm just looking through some questions. I'm not sure how much longer we're going to go. Square Peg Divergent, I appreciate you. I hope you're doing well. Sending lots of love. Also, some people have been asking about my socials. So when it comes to the socials, I have this account at WatersAbove. It's spelled WatersAbve. It's that spelling. And it's the same for Instagram. Anything else is a scammer pretending to be me. And there are a lot of them. So if you want to follow the actual socials, it's at WatersAbove, but it's missing the O from above. Just to let you guys know, because I get that question all the time. It happens from people emailing me that are like, hey, I've been talking to you on Instagram, and then they show me some screenshot of a person DMing them talking about a copy trading service. It's like, I don't do that, family. I would never, ever in a million years offer that. You'll know instantly that is a scam. I do not offer a trading service where I don't offer a portfolio managing service, none of that. I create educational materials, and you're the one that takes the action. Anytime in this world where it sounds too good to be true, it is. And these scammers know how to get in, and leverage on people's hard work to take advantage of other people. It's really sick, but I can't do anything about it. Luckily, I've been able to be verified on Twitter, but the sad thing about Twitter is anyone can get verified. Like, the process of it was just a money grab from Twitter. Just give me $10 and then you can get this blue check or whatever. As opposed to Instagram, it's a little bit more difficult, and I was declined for verification on Instagram. So I'm just doing what I could do, man. And this is all part of the bigger project that I'm thinking about, because there's clearly a roadblock that you come into when you're running these social platforms. You don't have the full control, and it is what it is, right? But you guys know that I'm trying my best to swat as many of the mosquitoes away before they suck blood. And just know that I have my official website, WatersAbove.com, and then I have my Patreon at patreon.com/WatersAbove. All of my real links are inside of my YouTube video, and there's just that one official account, And when we get to 100,000 subs on YouTube, which will be happening very soon, I could just feel it, we will probably be able to get that verified as well. And then hopefully it reduces the scamming. That's all I could hope for. I can't do anything about it, though, because once one of the scammers gets taken down, the same person makes a new account and does it all over again. It's really sick. Okay, I'm just looking through some questions. Be wrapping this up pretty soon because it's getting a little late. Square Peg Divergent said, dude, that's brilliant. I've been thinking about a vapor canopy prep school for children for a couple years now. That's amazing. Yeah, do that, Square Peg. I support that. I love when other artists out there are taking action and bringing stuff to life. It's really, really beautiful. It is what it is, said what? Bitcoin, not XRP? We're just making quick examples, brother. That's all this is. XRP is my second biggest holding, so don't get it twisted. We were just making an example for kids. For learning about something that is disinflationary and learning about a technological protocol and maybe having base awareness as a 12-year-old, you don't need to know about every single crypto under the sun. You need to know more about life. You actually don't really need to know too much about crypto. You need to learn how to take a risk with a girl that looks pretty. You need to take a risk with a job interview where you feel a little nervous. You need to learn how to take a risk with people that are ganging up on you and treating you like shit and you need to protect yourself. That's kind of what we need to teach children, like most importantly. Teach them how to take risks when everyone else would fold and just give up. All right, my family, I'm going to wrap this one up. It was brilliant. This was a hell of a time. I really appreciate you all. Probably another live stream for the books, honestly. I know the last one we said it was the best, but this, I really got in the flow today. It felt great. You guys were asking some incredible questions and just a good vibe. So I appreciate you all for showing up. Again, tomorrow I'll have Red Pill Podcast. I believe it's 123. 123. We'll have that one up probably around this time tomorrow. And that'll be available over on Patreon, patreon.com/WatersAbove for the Mastermind community or any of the other memberships. And I'm not entirely sure what we're going to be getting into in that one. I will be recapping probably the DXY in relation to the stock market. Oh, I know what I'm going to be sharing. I mapped out all the blue moons. I was going to keep that a surprise, but anyways, there's only like 300 people here, so not everyone is knowing this. Some people will be surprised. Just kind of a blue moon analysis over the past 20 years for the stock market, and then looking at it from the perspective of Bitcoin. I think that could be interesting, like an element to add to the podcast that's new. As usual, you guys know I don't mess around with those podcasts, man. Like, they have so much gnosis. So I'm really looking forward to diving into that, because I didn't do the analysis just yet. I just mapped out all the moments, and then I'm going to kind of do it as I usually do it, which is just free flow and see where my intuition stands whilst I'm looking at those charts, and then take it from there. So yeah, it's going to be a very unique podcast, and then I'll be covering about 3 to 4 different altcoins. So appreciate every single one of you. Wishing you all a beautiful rest of your Saturn day. If you're over there in Australia, New Zealand, that part of the pizza, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll be catching